Hello, I'm Janar. I'm the founder of IELTSchool, online school, and in this video you will learn tips on mastering IELTS. So if you haven't taken IELTS before and you have no idea what the structure of IELTS, then this video is for you. So let's look at the structure, the test structure of this exam. And so the first part is listening. You're gonna start with listening to 40 questions. So there are 4 sections. And this part will last 30 minutes. Immediately after you're done with the listening, next part you will have reading. So there will be 3 sections, which means like 3 reading passages and also 40 questions. So you need to answer all these 40 questions in just 1 hour. And so after finishing reading part, immediately again without any break you're gonna have writing part. So this one is the main test. The last part of the main test will be writing part. So in the writing part you're gonna write 2 essays. 2 essays. So like for one essay you need to write at least 150 words in 20 minutes, whereas for the second essay you need to write 250 words essay in 40 minutes. We will talk about this writing, about reading each part in more detail in today's video. And this one, speaking part, it will be taken separately from this main test. So it will last just 15 or 14 minutes. And so here we have 3 parts, and you'll be sitting in one room with the examiner and you and no one else, and the examiner will ask you questions. Gonna talk about this speaking part also in more detail in today's video. And now let's look at the difference between computer-based IELTS and paper-based. Well, in computer-based IELTS you have a computer and headphone, keyboard, mouse, and so you will do everything on computer, and with the headphone you will listen to the recording, so which is more convenient than paper-based. In paper-based there won't be any headphone, as in my experience. Maybe from one of my students I heard that they were provided with a headphone. So it depends. Sometimes you'll be given a headphone, sometimes not. In paper-based, I'm talking about paper-based. In computer-based, definitely you will have headphone, everything, But in paper-based, mostly there won't be any headphone. You'll hear the recording from the player, and you'll be provided with a so you'll be given an answer sheet, pencil, eraser to if you made a mistake, to erase your answer. So if you're good, which one to choose? If you're good at typing, then choose computer-based, because it is more convenient and you'll get the result in 3 or 5 days. Whereas the paper-based, if you're not good at typing, then go with paper-based. But the result you need to wait for 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks you will get the result. And so the main test you will take on the computer, but the speaking part, which will be taken separately from the main test, so there is no difference in the speaking part, so between this computer and paper-based. So now so there are 4 parts in this IELTS exam, and as I said earlier, this listening, reading and writing, it will be taken separately from the speaking part. So this main test, main part, it will last 2 hours and 45 minutes. Whereas the speaking part, which will last only 11 or 14 minutes, it might be taken on the same day, or it might be taken next day, or up to 7 days before, after the main test. And also I want to tell you that you'll be given extra 10 minutes in paper-based IELTS, only in the listening section. So you'll be given extra 10 minutes to transfer your answer from the question booklet to the answer sheet. But there won't be any 10 minutes in the reading part of this paper-based. And let's look at the difference between academic IELTS and general IELTS. Well, in academic and general IELTS, there is no difference in the listening and the speaking part. So you will take the same listening and speaking. You will have the same types of questions. But in the reading and the writing part, there will be difference. So what kind of difference? You will learn it, you will know it. Just keep watching the video. The first part in IELTS exam is the listening. So you'll start with the listening. You'll hear the recording, unfortunately, only one time. So you need to be ready for that, doing more practice tests. So there are 4 sections and 40 questions, and this listening part will last only 30 minutes. And if you're taking paper-based IELTS, then you'll be given extra 10 minutes to transfer your answer from the question booklet to the answer sheet. But you won't be given any extra 10 minutes in the reading part of paper-based, only in the listening. And also you will not be given extra 10 minutes in computer-based listening. In computer-based IELTS in the listening part. So look at this. Let's look at each section of listening. This first and second part of listening, it will be easier comparing to the third and last part, because third and last part you will hear academic conversation and academic monologue. That's why you might find it difficult, because you will hear academic words. If you're having trouble understanding what are they saying if you're not familiar with academic words, then it's time to enlarge your academic vocabulary. So if you're taking paper-based IELTS, then you will be provided with such kind of answer sheets. And so in the listening part, don't mix them up, by the way. So here you see the sign listening. So you need to write, if you're doing the listening, you need to write on this paper. So you are writing your answer with a pencil, and if you make a mistake, you can easily erase it. So you will be also provided with pencil, paper, answer sheet, and the eraser. And when you are writing your answer, make sure that your answers are readable, easy to understand. So when you have 1 month left before the exam, you can start practicing with such kind of answer sheets. You can download all these answer sheets by these links below. Yeah, so that's for the writing part. There are different types of questions in IELTS listening, and how to get familiar with them by doing practice tests. Yeah, you can do practice by these sites. Yeah, like mini-IELTS.com or IELTSonlinetest.com. Here's YouTube channel. By the way, you can download this presentation. Yeah, all this presentation I'm showing you. Below the video, you will find the link. Pressing by this link, you can download PDF version of this presentation. So you will just open this page and press on this link and see. So you can easily open these websites where you can practice your listening. So yeah, this page, these practice tests are all free. You don't need to pay for them. Yeah, so this listening that can be tough, listening part, because you need to be able to listen, to read, to write. So lots of skills will be involved in this part. So I hope after doing lots of practice tests it will get easier. So yeah, so before you listen to the audio, go through the questions quickly. So you'll be given like a 10 seconds or 20 seconds to go through the questions. It will give you some kind of idea about what are you going to listen, some kind of, you can predict about what will be the answer, so what you need to listen, what parts of speech you need to find. Now let's look at the band scores in the listening part. So for example, if you want to get band 7, then you need to have at least 30 questions correct out of 40. and so on. If you want to get 6.5, for example, then you need to have at least 27 questions correct out of 40. Yes, that's how it's calculated. Now let's look at how you can improve your listening skills. Well, let me turn off the camera. That's how you can see the title now. So by just doing these practice tests, you cannot improve your listening. You will improve your listening by watching various YouTube channels or movies, or listening to audiobooks, podcasts. So here I have prepared some YouTube channels that you might find interesting, like a CNN with Carl Lazus, or TED Talks. Well, if you think that while you are watching these videos you don't understand anything, and if you think that they are speaking too fast, even watching with subtitles, then maybe your listening level is elementary. And so how you can improve your listening skills? Well, in this case you can improve your listening skills by doing dictation. So here I have prepared some websites where you can listen to the audio and check yourself with the script of this audio. So here in this site you'll find tons of topics, like for example, you chose books, yeah? So you are listening to this audio about books, and then after doing the dictation you can check yourself with the script of this audio. So do dictation every day and you'll see the result. Maybe in 1 month, maybe after 2 months. And and in this maybe this kind of doing dictation, it will help you to stay focused, because listening, it will last 30 minutes, so you need to stay focused all these 30 minutes listening to the audio. If you start thinking about something else, then you'll miss the answer, and so you cannot listen it again, and so that's why you need to improve your concentration, your focus while listening to something all these 30 minutes. You can also improve your listening by listening to audiobooks. Yeah, so by this site you can listen to audiobooks, or from these YouTube channels. Well, this one is lovely, Easy English, because here you can review your grammar, vocabulary. You'll learn lots of phrasal verbs, idioms, and this Doses of English. It's also a good channel. You can listen and read the text. There are different stories, like fairy tales, and so yeah. Now, another way of improving your listening, how to stay focused. Maybe if you don't have any motivation to listen to something in English, maybe you'll be more motivated by listening to something you love. For example, if you love everything about physics, then here I have prepared some YouTube channels about physics, or chemistry channels, YouTube channels. If you love traveling, so you can watch these YouTube channels, news, science channels. Well, in these science channels, it will also help you to enrich your academic vocabulary. Well, some of you might say that, Janar, I will only, if I just keep listening to chemistry channel, I will end up improving only my vocabulary in chemistry area. Well, maybe you're right, is that you will end up improving enlarging your vocabulary only in this area, but you are also improving your listening skills. So it has also positive effect on improving your listening skills. Also, you are improving your listening skills and enlarging your academic vocabulary. So keep listening to something you like, you love, like science channels, psychology channels. And well, if you are into movies, if you love movies, then you can watch in English with subtitles. Yeah, so in this website, or from this website you can watch any movie in English with subtitles. Now let's look at the reading part of IELTS. So after listening, next part is reading. There won't be any break, so immediately you will have reading questions. So there will be 3 reading passages, and in 1 hour you need to answer all these 40 questions. So texts are taken from scientific journals or magazines. It means there will be tons of academic vocabulary. So that's another reason to enrich your vocabulary here, academic vocabulary. And so there are different types of questions, and to master this reading part, you need to develop your different types of skills, like reading for main ideas or reading for detail. If you decided to take paper-based IELTS, then in the reading part you need to write your answers in this kind of answer sheet, with a pencil, as you do in the listening part. Let's see the difference between IELTS Academic and IELTS General in the reading part. Well, in IELTS Academic, texts are taken from the scientific journals or magazines. That is why you'll see more complex vocabulary. And texts are longer here. But in IELTS General, reading part in IELTS General is much easier, because here texts are shorter and you won't see lots of complex vocabulary. But in the IELTS academic reading part, you will see lots of academic words. So that's another reason to enlarge your academic vocabulary. I'm saying that the reading part in IELTS General is easier, is much easier comparing to IELTS Academic. But the last section, the last part in both types of exams, academic and general, is the most difficult. So the last section, both in academic and general reading, is the most difficult. And so let's see how you can spend your time more productively, how you can spend 1 hour more productively on the exam while answering these 40 questions. So I advise you to spend 15 minutes on the first reading passage, because questions and the text are easier here, but the question and text will get more difficult on the next reading passage, on the second reading passage. So that is why spend 20 minutes on the second reading passage. And the last reading passage, as you know, is the most difficult. Therefore, spend 25 minutes on the last reading passage on the exam. So ideally on the exam you should work with reading questions, spending 15 minutes on the first reading passage, 20 on the second reading passage, and 25 on the third reading passage on the exam. But while you are practicing, getting familiar with different types of questions, and the first time you are seeing this question and you don't know this word, you don't know the meaning, so while you are practicing, maybe instead of 15 minutes you will spend like 40 minutes for the first time while you are dealing with this getting familiar with different types of question in reading. So first day you might spend 40 minutes, and next day you'll spend like 38 minutes. So you'll see progress. Just keep practicing and working with the mistakes, trying to make less mistakes. So third day you might spend like 35 minutes and so on. But when you have 1 month left or 2 weeks left, then I would advise you to start practicing setting the timer for 15 minutes while dealing with the first reading passage, 20 minutes on the answering the question in the second reading passage, and 25 minutes on the third reading passage. yeah, reading the text and answering the questions. But while you're practicing, you don't have to set the timer. You don't have to set the timer for 25 minutes. So as I'm saying, while you're practicing, yes, familiarizing yourself with different types of questions, with the new words. So you might, instead of 25 minutes, you might spend like 45 minutes, and then you'll spend, next day you'll spend 43 minutes, and so on. You'll see practice. Just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. Now let's look at marking and assessment in the reading part. So there are 40 questions, which are equivalent to 40 points. So each time you get a correct answer, you get 1 point. And you have to follow instruction exactly as it is written in the test. And pay attention to the spelling, because you lose marks if you misspell the word. It's the same advice I can give you while doing the listening part. So for example, you got the answer correct, but you misspelled that word, so you will lose points for that. So pay attention for how to spell a particular word. If you have problem like writing, how to write the word knowledge or environment, keep practicing on your mistakes, on your weak sides. And if you don't know the answer, just guess. Yeah. Now let's look at the band scores in IELTS Academic and IELTS General. Well, if you want to get band 7, then you need to have at least 30 questions correct out of 40 if you want to get band 7. Whereas in IELTS General Reading, if you want to get band 7, then you need to have at least 34 questions correct out of 40. Now, so there are different question types in IELTS Reading, like short answer question, multiple choice, sentence completion, true, false, not given. Well, to get familiar with these different types of question, I advise you can practice for free by these sites. Yeah, mini-IELTS.com or IELTSonlinetest.com. Just press on the links on your PDF of this presentation and start practicing. If you're taking, for example, academic, then here you can choose academic. If you're taking general IELTS, then here you can choose the general. Well, after practicing lots of time and you still having trouble with some particular types of question like matching headings or true false or any of them, then you can sign up for our training, for our reading classes. And in our reading classes, I will show you tips on how to master, how to avoid common errors, and I will show you tips on each type of question in IELTS reading. Let's look at primary skills that you need while answering this, while dealing with the reading part in IELTS. So when you are reading the question, you need to find the keywords. So you always work with keywords, finding the keywords in the text. And but in the text, you will see the synonym for these keywords. So you need to have if you have problems with finding synonyms, if you don't have enough vocabulary, then it's time to start enriching your vocabulary by reading scientific articles or by reading just newspapers. And also you need to know this, you need to be good at these techniques like skimming and scanning. Well, as you see, skimming, it means like reading the text very quickly, yeah, to get the overall idea of the text, of the paragraph. Whereas scanning, it means just looking for specific information like data, number, or some key information. So just scanning or skimming the text is not enough. So to work with keywords and to find specific information, you need to have rich academic vocabulary. So how you can enrich your academic vocabulary? by reading articles, by reading everyday articles, like 2 or 3 articles from newspapers or scientific magazines or journals. So here I have prepared some newspapers. They are all free. So make a habit reading 2 or 3 articles a day. Well, if you think you are too busy to read something, then at least spend daily 10 minutes on reading articles. Maybe in one day, in 10 minutes you will read 1 article. Maybe next day in 10 minutes you will read 2 articles. And don't only read them, also try to understand, try to learn new phrases, new collocation, new words. So become an active reader, not a passive reader. Always learning. Why you are reading? You are reading with the purpose of enriching your vocabulary. Also, another advantage of reading is that you will speed up your reading skills. And the third advantage of reading, well, you will improve your writing skills. So you learn the sentence structures in English. So there is lots of advantage of reading. You can also read from this application, like Medium, The Guardian, and NPR. Well, NPR and Guardian, they are free. This application you can install to your mobile. Whereas Medium, it's free only for 1 week. And for 1 month, as I know, you need to pay $5 a month. But this one is lovely, Medium, I love it. And because usually when you open the newspaper, it is just full of this news about politics and about like a coronavirus. Whereas Medium, they don't have such kind of news. There is lots of articles about how you can be a better person. So about psychology, and also it will help you to improve your writing skills, to enlarge your vocabulary, and you will start reading faster. So choose your application, or you might find these newspapers more interesting. And well, if you love reading books, so go ahead, read books. So here you can download any books for free. You need to just press on these links and choose your level. For example, if you think your level is pre-intermediate, so here you are pressing, and here there is in the site there is also option on the menu choosing the level, if you think your level is intermediate, then choose intermediate level. But while you are reading, you downloaded 1 book, and you see like in 1 page there are too many new words, like 10 new words. Then this is not the book that you need to read. This is not your level. You need to choose a book where in 1 page you will come across with only like 3 or 5 words maximum. Well, if in 1 page it's just full of new words, that's too difficult will be to read. And so choose your appropriate, choose the level that suits you. Let's look at the structure of IELTS writing. And so in IELTS, in 1 hour you will write 2 essays. So writing task 1 and writing task 2. So first essay, you need to write at least 150 words in 20 minutes. Whereas the second essay you will write in 40 minutes, so you need to write at least 250 words. And talking about the difference between academic and general, well, there is no difference in the writing task 2, but there is difference in writing task 1. So let me show you the difference. So in IELTS academic writing task 1, the difference is that you will be given a kind of bar chart or table or diagram. I need to describe it. So this is writing task 1 is more difficult, but in IELTS general, if you take IELTS general, the writing task 1 is much easier compared to IELTS academic writing task 1, because you are just writing a letter. That's it. That's easy, piece of cake, I think, comparing to this IELTS academic writing task 1. And so if you're taking paper-based IELTS, then you'll be given such kind of answer sheet, So for writing task 1, there's answer sheet, and writing task 2. And so look at the useful information. Okay, my advice for you, how you can, when you have like before the exam, when you have like a 1 month left or 2 weeks left, start practicing writing on this kind of answer sheet, and we will, because it will give you some kind of estimation of how many you can write on one side and how many words you can write on other side, because you need to write at least 250 words, yeah, for the second part of for the IELTS writing task 2, and for writing task 1 you need to write at least 150. So on the exam day you will not sit there and counting every word. By just practicing at home, writing on this answer sheet before the exam, like when there is like 2 weeks left, you will get a kind of estimation, like how many words you can write in one line, or how many words you can write in one page on one side. So for example, if you can write here like let's say like 100 words, and on the other side of this page you can write 130. So and so adding up we have like 230 words, and you still need to write 20 words. So if you are running out of paper, you can just raise your hand and tell about that you need a new answer sheet, and they will provide you. There is no problem asking a new paper, and they will give it to you. Just you need to finish your writing on time, you know, so 40 minutes on the writing task 2 and 20 minutes on the writing task 1. Yeah, look at this advice, like make sure you don't go over the lines, and keep your handwriting clean, yeah, easy. So that's how it's easy to read. And now let's look at writing task 2. So what are question types in IELTS writing task 2? So as I said, there is no difference between IELTS academic or IELTS general in writing task 2. So the most common question, so there are 5 types of question, like opinion essay, problem solution, discussion, advantage, double question essay. I would say the most common type is like opinion essay, discussion one, and sometimes my student told me like they had advantage essay or problem solution essay, and also, yeah, double question. No one has said so far that they had double question essay, but there is also probability that you can get such kind of question, double question essay. If you're having trouble writing any type of essay and you have no idea about the structure, then in my course, writing course, so I say it like as a complete guide, because I have explained everything that you need to get a higher score in your writing part. So there you'll find lots of tips and special vocabulary and grammar for every type of essay, and there is no limit in checking your essay. And after completion of the course, you'll get certificate. If you want to know more about this writing course, visit site IELTSchool.org. After completing the course, you'll be given such kind of certificate. And Jeanette, she's one of my former students who got Band 7 overall. If you want to know more about her success story and success stories of my other students, you'll find on Instagram. And the speaking part. So let's look at the structure of this speaking part in IELTS exam. So the speaking test is a face-to-face interview between the test taker and then examiner. So as you see, the speaking test contains 3 parts. So in the first part, examiner will ask you some general questions like where do you come from, tell me about your hometown, and so on. So general question just to make you feel relaxed. Whereas in part 2, you will be given a card. So and the question will be written in the card. So the question might sound like describe the most successful person in your family. and you have 1 minute to prepare your answer. You will be also given paper and pencil to take notes, and after 1 minute is over, you will start speaking for 2 minutes. And so examiner will not ask you any question because all the questions will be written in the card. So in the last part, the third section involves a discussion between the examiner and the test taker, and the questions will be related to the topics that you have covered in part 2. For example, if in part 2 the topic was about family, then in part 3 you will continue talking about family. So examiner will ask you questions about family. Or for example, if in part 2 you had question about environment or global warming, about air pollution, for example, air pollution, then in part 3 examiner will ask you a question about air pollution. Want to know more about speaking part 1? So just read this information about it. And so here's sample answers that you might hear in part 1, and how to do in part 1. Well, listen to the questions carefully, because if you're answering to the wrong question, it might lower your score in the task achievement. So if you didn't hear the question, you can ask, could you repeat the question? It's okay to ask question to the examiner, and give full answers to the questions if possible, but don't anticipate related questions. So for example, if you're asked where you live, a suitable answer would be like, I live in the New Territories in a village just outside Almaty called Taugur. But don't answer like, I live in Almaty, it's a really nice city with a quite large population, it's a lovely place to live as it is in the countryside, I have lived there for 10 years. Because this kind of long answer will sound like you have prepared your answer and you memorized your answer, which will also lower your score. And what is a perfect answer? Just answer with 1 or 2 sentences. So yeah, suitable answer will be answer with 2 sentences. And don't give 1 or 2 word answer. Don't answer like yes or no. Give full answer, with 2 sentences. Here I have prepared tips, strategies on what you should do, what you shouldn't do on part 2. It says like, don't worry about the time because examiner will stop you when you hear time is up. Don't hesitate too long. Talk about anything related to the question rather than not saying anything at all. Don't write on the topic card because you'll be given a paper and pencil to write. Where you can take notes while you have 1 minute preparation. Okay, so how to prepare for this speaking part 2. You can download sample questions in these boxes. Just press on this link and you can download. There are 100 sample questions for part 2. It's all free, you don't have to pay. So for example, question is about like describe a place that you have visited recently, and there will be some points that you need to cover, like what the place is, so how to prepare for that. I want you to install such kind of application like a recorder and timer. So why timer? Because you need to set the timer for 2 minutes, and you will record your answer while you are speaking for 2 minutes. So you record yourself answering the questions about describing the place that you have visited recently. And after the recording, listen to the audio and check yourself by this checklist, like did I cover all the points? So there will be points. And did I organize my ideas logically? Was my pronunciation clear? Did I vary my vocabulary? So don't use the same word over and over in your speaking. If you're not satisfied with the answer, just delete, record again and again. So by just doing it every day, it will get easier. The last part in speaking. So everything what you need to know about speaking part 3 and how to do this last part. Well, remember, there is no right or wrong answer, and don't be afraid to say what you think about the topic, and show your ability to express abstract ideas and supporting your opinions with the reasons why you think that way. And so here I have prepared useful language that you might use in your speaking. So asking for help, yep, so it's okay to ask the examiner questions. So we can ask like, could you say that in other words, or I'm not sure what you mean exactly, or you can buy time, like if the question is difficult to answer, and you can memorize such phrases like that's a really good question, let me think about it, you know, while you are saying like I've never really thought about it before, but while you are saying that, you can think of some ideas, something to say. Yes, like a self-correcting. So just have a look at them. If you like some of them, memorize them. I'm not telling you to memorize all these phrases, just choose the one that you liked, you know, like from this long time, maybe you liked the first one or third one. Now let's learn the type of questions that you can ask to the examiner. So it's totally fine asking the questions to the examiner. For example, if you want the examiner to repeat the question, you can start like could you repeat that please, or sorry I didn't hear you, could you repeat the question? Because sometimes examiners might speak quietly and you might not hear what are they saying, so in that case you can ask to repeat the question. Or sometimes there will be a new word in the examiner's question. In that case, you can ask like, sorry, what does ubiquitous mean? Yeah, for example. And also, if you want to check the question, and then you can ask this question only in part 3, where is all this repeating question, checking the meaning of the word. You can ask in all part of the speaking. Whereas checking the question, you can ask this question like, are you asking me or do you mean, only in part 3. Now look at the useful phrases. So sometimes you might hear some strange, weird questions. So, and you don't know what to say. So to buy time, you can just memorize one of these phrases like, let me see, that really is quite a tricky question. Well, I suppose I would have to say that. And while you are saying this phrase, you can think of some ideas, what to say. And getting to the point, you can use such phrases to repeat yourself. If you want to get higher score in speaking part, then use idioms. In my speaking classes, I teach students different idioms for different topics. Well, yeah, so more idioms you can find on my Instagram, or you can download the list of idioms with definitions, examples in this link. Sometimes students in the essays mix up some words, for example, borrow or lend or amount or number. So more about confused words you can download here for free by this link, or you can find more examples on Instagram. We are happy to answer to any of your questions. Feel free to contact us by any of the social media platforms. Thank you for your time. If you find this video helpful, please share it. You can download this presentation by the link below the video. Have a good day. Follow us on social media.